Sports governance. Sports awareness. Sports accessibility. Sports facilities development. Sports linkages. Institutionalization of the Philippine Sports Institute. Legislative initiatives and interagency collaborations. Bahagi na ng buhay nating mga Pilipino ang sports. Mula sa panahon ng unos, sa tamis ng tagumpay, sa kabila ng pagbabago ng buhay, ang Philippine Sports Commission ay patuloy na magigilingkod sa sambayanan at atletang Pilipino.
Good day, everyone. I am Dr. Rodel Canlas of the Sports Psychology Unit under the Medical and Scientific Athlete Services of the Philippine Sports Institute and, of course, the Philippine Sports Commission. Now, on this webinar, I'm going to talk about mindfulness, wherein here you're going to experience a brief script or session on mindfulness itself. And that's why, okay, for that, you actually need a private or quiet place for you to listen and engage in this webinar, preferably free from distraction. Second to that, okay, you're going to engage as well in actual 10 mindfulness movements. So with that, you would actually need a space or a room with a space that you are free to move. So I am about to share my PowerPoint presentation. So listen carefully, attentively, because I know that there are pre-tests and as well as post-tests, okay, concerning or connected with this webinar, okay. And when I'm going to share my PowerPoint presentation, okay, unfortunately, that is when you stop seeing my face. But anyway, what's valuable is the content of this webinar. So at this point, without further ado, so I'm going to share my PowerPoint presentation. So topic, again, is mindfulness in sport. And as usual, we're going to start with the definition of terms, mindfulness. So it is a technique based on focusing all of your attention on what you're doing at present without judgment and with few filters as possible. So in this definition, allow me to focus to three of the most important phrases. So first, that is focusing all of your attention on what you're doing in the present moment. Now, for athletes to perform well and even enter their zone where they can deliver their best performance, they need to be mentally present during the game. This means not thinking what they left behind prior to the game and not paying attention to current distractions such as external noises or even internal distraction, just like regretting or analyzing their mistakes. Excuse me for that. And of course, not worrying about the outcomes of the games. So aside from that, okay, in mindfulness, okay, we, excuse me, we fall in a state wherein there is no judgment of what's happening around us. Because more often than not, the circumstances in and out of the sports impact athletes depending on how they perceive and even judge it. For instance, athletes may see their mistakes as worse than what is real and may elicit guilt feelings in athletes. Likewise, just like people in general, athletes may have mental filters that may bring a wrong impression of circumstances. As an example, a coach for the athlete may always see his or her mistakes. But in reality, the former's intention, not other who is the coach, is for the athlete to correct his or her mistake and, of course, consequently, become better. Now, how about these few filters as possible? This is actually pertaining to our mental or cognitive filters, which make us biased, again, in terms of interpreting the situation and even perceiving people. Now, mindfulness counteracts our judgment and mental filters, which allows athletes to have a neutral view of events or circumstances, thus not unfavorably affecting their emotions. Yet instead of reacting, athletes could actually respond better to such situation, both inside and outside the game. So let's move on. Now, a state of mindfulness wherein it has three aspects. First and foremost, with the awareness of current thoughts. Okay, now this allows athletes to evaluate their thoughts if they are positive and negative, and if these are appropriate to the situations at hand. Aside from that, there's acceptance of one's current thoughts and body sensations, whether positive or negative. Athletes can momentarily entertain their thoughts and feel their bodily sensation, which can actually lead to control of both thoughts and sensations rather than these thoughts and sensation controlling unfavorably the athletes and their performance instead. Now, third one, we have goal-relevant focus. After briefly entertaining thoughts and experiencing body sensation, athletes can now focus on performance since the thoughts and sensation that may distract them were briefly yet effectively expressed and addressed. Let's move forward. Still on the state of mindfulness. Now, a state of mindfulness was found to attenuate the act of consciousness and processing in athletes during competition. So for instance, what we have at this point is working memory or short-term memory. Actually, okay, this is when athletes, okay, actually in the process of learning a particular skills, techniques, tactics, or movements. On the other way around, okay, we want this working memory, those things that we learn under working memory, to convert it to procedural or long-term memory. It is because under this procedural memory or long-term memory, now athletes actually have a mastery of their skills, techniques, tactics, etc. And when mastery is in, that is when athletes could actually move and perform naturally and spontaneously and automatically. And of course, we all want that. Again, we all want that. For instance, in terms of execution of letting skills, okay, once it is converted to procedural memory, okay, the delivery is automatic. In terms of coaching instruction, okay, athletes are capable of more capable of executing and following the coach instruction. Okay, lahat po ng coach, okay, talagang masisiyan po okay, pagka nangyayari yan, nagawa ng atleta na execute, ginagawa yung instruction nila during the competition or game itself. And of course, there's control of distraction. And in actual competition, ideally, okay, athletes, aside from controlling or filtering out distraction, they could actually focus on attaining the goal at hand. So that would mean focusing, performing well in the game. Let's continue. However, what happens when the athletes are under pressure? Now, what happens? Okay, now some athletes will actually reinvest, reverse procedural memory back to working memory. Ayan. When athletes are under the state of pressure, they may again reinverse or shift their attention from procedural back to working memory, which causes decline in motor performance. Now, when athletes notice their decline in performance, they shall feel anxiety, which in turns, again, lead to further decline in motor movements and consequently deterioration in one's performance. In particular, athletes exert more conscious control of their movements that depletes their energy faster and eventually, what would happen? Decline and again, deterioration in their performance. However, under the state of mindfulness, mindfulness actually stopped the reimbursement of procedural memory back to working memory and consequently preventing anxiety and performance deterioration. Specifically, mindfulness prevents athletes from judgmental thinking. And when athletes accept their mistake rather than ruminating or regretting about it, this in turn allows athletes to go back and stay in the state of zone again, where they could actually perform at their best. Now, allow me to read this one. Where there is mindfulness, athletes are less worried about what others think about their movements, and that is known as self-presentational concern. Now, this would imply that athletes' movements can be more spontaneous and automatic since they could focus solely on the game, on their performance, without thinking of what would others think of their performance. Siyempre po, pagka yung atleta, for them to perform well, kailangan yung focus nila as much as possible, 100%, to the performance. And somehow thinking about others would think about them, it doesn't help. So it's better to focus on the game at hand. And one way to do that, again, or one way to achieve that is through the practice of mindfulness. Now, in terms of practicing mindfulness, what do you need to know before practicing it, or mindfulness itself? First, you don't have to prepare anything, because all it takes is you and your mind. Just stay in a quiet place, as I indicated a while ago, preferably free from any distraction. Now, actually, there's no way to quiet the mind, at least completely. It is actually natural for thoughts to enter your mind when you are practicing mindfulness. Also, your mind may wander. Just remember that don't judge the thoughts or circumstances that enters your mind. Now, just allow these thoughts and even the thoughts of circumstances to pass your mind. And what else? Your doubtful brain, will try to take over. Now, when in doubt, again, just let it go. This is one way of passing away, the judgment. Now, from here, so why practice mindfulness? Because, again, as I indicated before, there are benefits in terms of regular and constant practice of mindfulness. Unang-una, ano po yun? Improves the ability to control thoughts and emotions. Now, the more you can control your thoughts and emotions, actually, the more you can manage your actions and consequently your performance. Aside from that, it helps with managing physical discomfort. The normal physical discomfort that we feel may be perceived as more grave or more serious, when we put more attention to it than necessary. Kumbaga, overthinking po. Was more overthinking. Hence, the other way around, through mindfulness, we can get rid of such catastrophic thinking or overthinking, take the physical discomfort, the normal the physical discomfort as it is, and again, focus back to the game at hand. Now, mindfulness also reduces the mind wandering, improving the ability to stay in the zone. Actually, being mindful is being, again, at the present moment, which is a precursor to getting into and as well as staying in the zone of optimal performance. Now, mindfulness also improves athletes' resiliency or resilience. Mindfulness actually strengthens the mind. And of course, a strong mind is a huge factor in our resiliency, both and in and outside the sports. It also reduces performance stress because our energy is not wasted too much to unnecessary and even pessimistic thinking, which could actually contribute to stress. Now, mindfulness increases recovery time. Of course, we need energy to recover, and mindfulness allows us to conserve our energy, that is physical, mental, and even emotional, that we could actually use for our recovery. And finally, okay, better endurance, again, because of the conservation and proper use of energy, of course, through mindfulness. Now, okay, in terms of practical application. Before anything else, okay, let's practice, okay, what breathing, this simple breathing exercise. Okay, so remember that breathing exercise or proper breathing is the foundation of all relaxation techniques. When the circle expand, inhale, there's just a 4 seconds holding of your breath. Then when it's shrink down, okay, that is when we exhale. Okay, wait for my cue. And we're about to start. So, inhale. Hold it. And breathe out through your mouth. Inhale through your nose. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Two more times. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. And now the 5th time. Inhale. Hold. And exhale. So we actually do this one 5 times only, of course, for the sake of the time intended for the webinar. But of course, in actual practice, you could actually perform this one for 2 to 5 minutes. And this is already enough for you to be relaxed, be calm, and of course, fall in the state of mindfulness. So let's continue. Now, okay, this is what I said a while ago. Let's practice actual mindfulness. I'm going to play a background music. Okay, and while playing this background music or the background music, I'm going to state words, statement, and sentences that will allow us, okay, to be in the state of mindfulness. So what you need to do again is to stay in a place that is quiet, okay, silent, again, preferably, okay, free from distraction. And what you need to do while listening to the background music and as well as listening to my voice is to close your eyes, okay, clear your mind, and of course, enjoy mindfulness. So I'm about to play the background music and I'm going to give you a brief moment if you still have the chance or opportunity of, again, to go somewhere which is quiet. So let me play the background music. Let's start. Find a place where you can sit quietly and undisturbed for a few minutes. Begin by bringing your attention to the present moment by noticing your breathing. Pay attention to your breath as it enters and leaves your body. Before long, your mind will begin to wander, pulling you out of the present moment. And that's okay. Notice your thoughts and feelings as if you are an outside observer watching what's happening to your mind. Take note of your thoughts and feelings, and then allow yourself to go back to your breathing. Sometimes you might feel frustrated or even bored. That's okay. These are just some of a few feelings to notice. Your mind might start to go on planning, strategizing, or worrying. Just notice where your thoughts are going. Accept what's happening. Without any judgment or any need for it to be different. Then, whenever you are able to, return to your concentration to your breathing. Notice where you feel it. Do you feel your breath on your nose? Maybe in your throat, chest, or deeper, down in your belly perhaps? There is no wrong or right answer. The key is to pay attention. Now, continue the process as they come without any judgment. And then let go as you return your focus to your breath. If you notice your mind wandering, let the thoughts come and on like waves on the beach. Always returning your attention to the present moment, like coming back to your breath. Just focus on your breathing. Just focus on your breathing. Return back to your breath. As you focus on your breathing, remember that your one and only task is to be present. To continue to remember, to bring your focus to your breath, which grounds you at this very moment. Put out uneasy things to do or difficult today. It's okay. Continue to bring yourself back to your breaths. Again, be at present. Stay at the moment. Focus on your breath. And just be mindful of the present. Be mindful of the moment. Be mindful of your breaths. Our mindfulness exercise or practice is about to be complete. About to be complete. And gradually, shift your attention back to the present moment. Shift your focus back to the webinar at hand. And there you go, our dear participant. Okay, a short, simple practice of mindfulness. And hopefully, okay, that actually elicit feeling of calmness, comfort, and of course, mindfulness in you. So let's go now to the next slide. Now, mindfulness, which you could actually perform of the field activities. First, we have the gratitude list. Now, specifically, before you sleep, you may list down at least 3 blessings that you have for the day. It could be the simplest, smallest, and even everyday graces or blessings that you receive regularly. Aside from that, drinking tea, which I personally perform. Now, in the morning or in afternoon, you may take your tea while sitting somewhere. You can observe your surrounding. While doing so, drink slowly. Be aware of the warmth and even taste of the tea, even though it is just subtle taste. And notice its sip that you are making. Third one is listening to calming music. Now, slow down, sit still, and appreciate how the music leads you to a relaxed state of your mind, body, and emotions. You could also perform writing and reflection. Now, in particular, during the time of the day that the pace is slower and easier, usually during the night, write your reflection of what you had for the day. This will allow you to live fully and appreciate the moments that transpired during the day. Of course, there's also sitting meditation, just like mindfulness. Actually, there's such thing as mindfulness meditation. You could combine the two. And one way to do that is sitting meditation. And again, find a silent place that is free from distraction. Find a comfortable spot to sit. Close your eyes, clear your mind, and just allow your thoughts to pass through briefly while focusing on your breath. Again, just allow your thoughts to pass through briefly while focusing on your breath. For you to focus, for you to concentrate. Now, for those who don't really prefer sitting still, an alternative for you is mindful walk in nature. Now, preferably you could do this one in the morning with the morning sun. You walk slowly and be aware of the things around you, such as the sunshine, the sky, the wind that touches your skin, your body, the plants and trees surrounding you as you walk by, and even as you can see the sound that you could hear or listen to, and as simple as the chirping of the birds. All right, now at this point, I'm going to play these 10 mindfulness movements. And again, our dear participant, preferably, the place that you are staying here would have that enough space, to be able for you to perform simple mindfulness movement. Okay, this is around 7 minutes, I think. So without further ado, this is the time that you stand up from where you're seated. Okay, so move that body. Let that energy flow in a sa comfortable and mindful way. So let me play this video.
We shall do the 10 mindful movements. The 10 mindful movements is a practice, daily practice in Plum Village, and that is to enjoy our movements. This is the first one. You breathe in, and you raise your arms like this. You are aware of your movement, and you enjoy your in-breath. And then you breathe out, and you bring your arms back to the initial position. You do it 4 times, and you smile when you breathe out. In, out. In, out. You enjoy, you live deeply every movement. Second mindful movement. In, out. Smiling. In, you reach up as high as possible. Out. Third movement. In, out. In, out. The fourth, you draw a circle with your arm. The first half circle is for your in-breath, and the second half for your out-breath. In, out. In, out. In, out. In, out. The fifth. Breathing in. Breathing out. The sixth. Your heels together. Breathing in, you stand on your toes. In, out. In, out. The seventh. You draw a circle with your head. The first half is for in-breath, and the second half is for out-breath. In, the eighth. Breathing in, you bring your feet up like this, the toes pointing to the ground. Breathing out. In, out. In, out. Both feet are straight. In, out. ninth. With your tools, you draw a circle, and the first half is for your in breath. The second is for your out breath. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, last one. Breathing in, breathing out. In, out.
There you go, our just participant. So those are the 10 mindfulness movements. Again, alternative to the usual uh, doing of meditation, of mindfulness, including meditation, in a seated position. Okay, so again, for those who prefer movements, well, you could actually combine mindfulness with it. Okay, we are now down to our last slides. So let me proceed to the next one. So trivia, mindfulness is very effective when it comes to interpreting success and failures. Athletes may end their career when success dies and they experience constant failure. But with a sensible and balanced view of things, their judgment will reach a point of coherent common sense. Now, through mindfulness, athletes may remember that more valuable than winning is actually doing their sports itself. Of course, their passion for their sport is what's valuable and important in the first place. And lastly, okay, mindfulness is a superpower that everyone can achieve. So with that, okay, thank you so much. Okay, so hopefully you've learned or pick up something significant, worth remembering, and of course worth applying in this short webinar of us. And again, okay, this is Dr. Rodel Canlas, the Sports Psychology Unit, and saying to you that there is no health without mental health. And one way to achieve mental health, both inside and outside the sport, of course, that is through regular and of course constant practice of mindfulness. Again, good day and thank you so much.
Bahagi na ng buhay nating mga Pilipino ang sports. Mula sa panahon ng unos, sa tamis ng tagumpay, sa kabila ng pagbabago ng buhay, ang Philippine Sports Commission ay patuloy na magigilingkod sa sambayanan at atletang Pilipino.